We're finally ready to run payroll and pay our employees. I'm not really paying anybody in this because I'm still in the sample product-based company. But to start to pay our employees from the screen, click Employees, hover your mouse over Pay Employees, and then you have to choose what type of a paycheck this is going to be. You can choose a scheduled payroll, which is one that we know about, such as a biweekly paycheck or weekly paycheck. An unscheduled payroll is something that you want to do on the fly, such as a bonus check or expense reimbursement. You could also do a termination check. For now, I'm going to choose scheduled payroll. QuickBooks will tell me what payroll schedule I need to create. There's two here. There's the weekly one that we just created and the biweekly one that was already here in the sample file. A lot of these dates are going to be way off because I'm working in the sample company file. I'm just going to ignore these dates and show you the steps. The weekly schedule is already started. Because of that, I'm going to select the weekly one and click Start Scheduled Payroll. To do payroll, there's 3 steps. You enter in the payroll information, that is, the hours worked in the overtime, any sick or vacation hours. You can review the information, and then the third step is to get those checks to your employees. The first thing you need to decide is who's getting a check. I can uncheck any employee for whatever reason isn't getting a paycheck that week, but I'll leave these both selected. The regular pay amount fill is for hours worked. Because this is a weekly schedule, I'm going to change the regular pay to 40 hours. I can also change these values. For example, perhaps an employee has 32 hours of regular pay and 8 hours of vacation pay. Her total is still going to stay at 40 hours. I also need to decide when my pay period is ending and when the check date is going to be. Remember, if a pay period ends on a certain date, the check date could be a few additional days later. You can click on the calendar and change these values. I also need to decide what bank account the money is coming out of. In this case, it's going to pull from the checking account. Underneath that, I can choose what my check options are. For example, am I going to have QuickBooks print out the paychecks on check stock? Or am I going to handwrite and assign the check numbers? In which case, I can assign the check number here. When I'm all done, I can click Finish Later to pull in the values. Maybe I'm waiting on a particular employee to give me their hours, or I can click the blue Continue button. Here's where I can review all of their information. I can see their gross pay, any taxes that QuickBooks is going to take out, and I can see all their contributions and deductions. For example, here's the user's health and dental deductions that we set up in a previous video. From here, I'll click Create Paychecks on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. QuickBooks is going to tell me that there's 2 paychecks that are ready for printing. It's going to tell me that there's 0 paychecks for direct deposit. Finally, if I told QuickBooks that I wanted to print the checks myself, I can click Print Paychecks. It works just the same way that printing other checks in QuickBooks. However, if I use a third-party payroll service or if the employees are direct deposits and I still need to give them a receipt of that, I can click Print Pay Stubs. This will simply print a stub because the money is being handled elsewhere. Now that I'm done, I'll click Close. I paid my employees and everything's been handled right from within QuickBooks.